Markle has unfairly got a reputation for being a bit of a diva, but royal insiders say she's only ever made one demand. Don't leave her alone with Prince Andrew.
Say Miss Meghan Markle is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m, USA Network.
The only difference between that show and this is people watch this one.
If you had lunch with Meghan Markle, you'd be stunned at how dumb she was. Not because she's black, because I wouldn't think she was black if I looked at her, because she's an actress who was on the show Suits.
Authentically, organically want to share. I go back to the authenticity, right? It's what I love and it's what I want to share. I wanted to do what felt authentic, but also to be authentic.
You're a cold-eyed woman.
Harry and Meghan are leaving the palace to become financially independent. And you see, this is what happens when you bring the first black woman into the royal family. Yeah. She looked at Harry and she's like, you need to get a job. You need a job. You a grown-ass man. You can't still be living in your mama's house, Harry.
Meghan Markle is somebody who obviously, at least for a period of time, was a close associate of Prince Andrew, and hence is in a position to perhaps have seen what he did, and perhaps, if not, to have seen what he did, to have heard people talk about it.
You're a cold-eyed woman, Sonia. I'll fucking show you, dying. I'm leaving you. It's a weekend at Bernie's situation, Sonia. What the fuck are you talking about? No, he's fine. He's signing the documents.
And he'll say M and you'll say H and your friends say M and it just is a thing.
It's a thing.
And do you both love it?
Yes, and I like nicknames a lot.
Are you fucking dumb? What could it be? A mystery for the age.
It's almost ironic how someone who constantly demands privacy seems to be the loudest voice in the room whenever the spotlight turns unflattering. Meghan Markle never really retreats. She recalibrates. Every awkward headline gets scrubbed, every contradiction softened, every critic subtly painted as jealous or cruel. Over the years, the narrative has felt less like reality and more like careful editing. Delete the inconvenient, rewrite the uncomfortable, and cast shade on anyone who refuses to applaud the brand.
Already settled it for myself, so flattery and criticism go down the same drain. Nothing negative about being a feminist. It's not the F word.
Meghan Markle is, of course, a lifelong feminist, which she's demonstrated by marrying a prince and giving up her job.
Then came the brutal takedown of that polished image, a sharp dismantling of the persona so carefully constructed. When she was labeled the fakest feminist alive, it didn't feel random. It felt like a verdict many had already reached. The endless speeches about authenticity and victimhood, the repeated refrains of "my truth" and "my pain," all begin to ring hollow when accountability never enters the room. The pattern is glaring. The story evolves, but responsibility never does.
Have to read those things. Like, I have real best friends, the same ones since I was 17.
Really?
You know, like, I'm a real mom. I choose to go and do school pickup and drop off, but I do that under a landscape that is created that forgets that I'm a real person. My kids will see those magazines, and we all know mom's gossip.
She is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim.
No, you're not a fucking victim. What are you talking about?
And that was merely the opening act. Jimmy Carr didn't offer a gentle tease. He detonated the entire Harry and Meghan brand. With razor precision, he stripped the gloss off the royal rebrand and exposed what he believes sits beneath it. The punchlines landed like punches, and the sting was so sharp, it felt like it deserved a disclaimer.
Harry, the ginger, formerly known as Prince, became the first British royal to give evidence in court for 130 years. It's disgusting the way the press have tried to manipulate, gaslight, and control Harry. I mean, who do they think they are? Meghan?
Prince Harry insists he fled to reclaim control, escaping a suffocating palace, relentless headlines, and generations of expectation dictating his every move. But the irony practically writes itself. The man who ran from one system of control now appears choreographed under another spotlight, repackaged for streaming platforms, branded as fiercely independent while following a script that feels anything but. The transformation is so stark, it borders on satire.
Well, you never stood a fucking chance, did you?
Prince William or Prince Harry?
Prince William or Prince Harry? Well, the royal family, right, if you can imagine, they're like our Kardashians. And Prince Harry is very much our Kanye. He occasionally dresses as a Nazi, and he fucked up.
It doesn't look like freedom. It looks like a trade. Swap Buckingham Palace for a Montecito mansion. Add ring lights, curated interviews, a rebrand strategy, and a jam-making podcast, wife named Meghan Markle, and call it liberation. Yet for someone who supposedly ran from royal life, Harry can't seem to stop talking about it. The past he escaped has become the product he keeps selling.
Harry is a fucking twat. I do. I think he's a fucking twat. He's a whining, whinging, complaining, woe is me, I'm the only one that's ever had mental problems. You've been handed the world and every major contract, you had podcasts, you have all of this, and you didn't deliver because
there's nothing to deliver.
Yeah, because you don't have it. And that's okay. And I think they do have a right to privacy, but that doesn't seem to me what they're looking for.
At some point, sympathy curdles into exhaustion. Harry speaks as though suffering chose him personally, as if hardship carved out a throne with his name on it. But the truth is universal. Everyone carries burdens. Pain isn't exclusive, and struggle isn't a royal title. The world spins with millions of untold stories, and no one wears a crown for surviving them.
Everybody's fucking life is hard.
Yeah,
you were the prince of a goddamn country who dressed up as a fucking Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope?
Curtsy, the thing she said about medieval times, her lunch with the Queen was like medieval times, which, as you know, is a Disney-type entertainment place for kids. And it's just so horribly disrespectful and just a wine fest. Cuddly, lovey, holding hands, going everywhere together. It's so disingenuous. It's like, come on.
Kelly Osbourne had her moment in the spotlight, delivered her take, and stepped aside. But the real spectacle was still unfolding because Jimmy Carr wasn't even close to finished with Harry and Meghan.
Meghan Markle was there, who's a huge celebrity.
Yeah, you guys love suits.
Specifically, Prince Harry loves suits.
Yeah.
He used it like Tinder.
It's very interesting. Did you ever run into Meghan Markle or anything like that you ever heard of? Because you were in New York quite a lot. But then you were until 2013. And Meghan Markle, I think, entered the scene with Soho House in 2012.
Yeah, so I went to Soho House a lot in London. It was a scene like Harry was always there, partying. He partied a lot. I saw so many people in the Soho, and it was dark. It was a lot of escorts were there, a lot of models were there. It was definitely a scene. Ron was there.
It's all going great. Don't fuck it up.
And then there's Meghan Markle, declaring her craving for privacy while launching Netflix specials, stacking podcasts back to back, and walking red carpets to explain how desperately she wants to be left alone. It's a contradiction so blatant, it almost feels theatrical, like insisting you despise attention while checking your reflection in every passing mirror. The performance doesn't need decoding. The irony speaks for itself.
They made an appeal for their privacy, and they said, we just want everybody to leave them alone.
But we're going to do books and documentaries.
Well, no, they said it on Oprah, and then weirdly nobody left them alone. So they thought, well, okay, we started a Spotify series. So Meghan did her Spotify series, saying, leave me alone, will you stop looking at me? And people kept looking at her. So then they did a book.
You pop.
It's true, he did a book saying, leave me alone, stop giving me all this attention. And that didn't work either. So now they've got a Netflix documentary saying, leave us alone, stop giving us all this attention. It is likely, one assumes, to be an absolute goldmine for Netflix. They're going to make a fortune, because if you remember Howard Stern, the shock jock in the States, there's a famous scene in his movie and in his book Private Parts where they do the original research into him on WNBC, and they say what the research shows is that half of his listeners hate him, and management said all the more reason to get him off, and they said no, they're the ones who listen most. And that's what'll happen with this. People who loathe Harry and Meghan.
Dark? Absolutely. Uncomfortable? Without question, but the absurdity of the situation fuels the humor. The comparison was outrageous, deliberately shocking, designed to slice straight through the carefully curated victim narrative. The joke lands not because it's polite, but because it exposes how overdramatic the saga has begun to feel, so exaggerated that satire barely has to try.
I think your work. Fireworks? What? Let's take a look.
Yeah!
Oh, they want so much privacy.
Leave us alone! Down with the motorhead! We deserve our privacy!
Are they really like this?
What it resembles now is less a tragedy and more a long-running reality series that never signs off. And Jimmy made that painfully, hilariously clear.
In California, we're just a regular couple living close to Oprah and far from the paparazzi. Woo! But not too far.
And nobody is a realer housewife than Meghan Markle, who married this ginger retard and took him out of his racist family so that they could live in Beverly Hills or wherever the they live. Well, what's brilliant about what she's doing is she knows people want to spend money, and spending money makes them feel like they're getting something that's better, even though it might not necessarily be.
In this version of events, Meghan didn't simply marry into royalty, she fractured it. The accusation isn't subtle, that she pulled Prince Harry away piece by piece, distancing him from lifelong friendships, from family ties, from the institution that shaped him.
All have in common.
Who's the lady in the middle?
What, Wallace Simpson? She's a divorced American lady, and she calls the king to abdicate because he wanted to be with her. Do you remember?
So she's like vintage Meghan, old school Meghan. Yeah, she's
That's a great way to describe Wallace Simpson. She's the original Meghan Markle.
When Jimmy Carr drew parallels between Meghan Markle and Wallace Simpson, it wasn't delivered as a throwaway gag. It felt pointed. Wallace Simpson, the American divorcee who led King Edward VIII to surrender the throne in the 1930s, remains one of history's most controversial royal figures. Look, love has always demanded sacrifices, and crowns have fallen for less. But critics argue that with Meghan, romance wasn't the destination, it was the access point. Once inside the royal gates, the dominoes seem to fall with uncanny timing. They exit royal duties, and almost instantly, boom.
I remember that day in Windsor. It was magical when Harry and Meghan got married, and I remember thinking that the world had finally shifted, that we were moving forward. But now we know that the fairy tale was actually the beginning of a very long and painful nightmare.
What can Harry do?
He doesn't get security anymore. He has to pay for security. He has to buy his house. He has to mind the kids.
Do you know what Harry did for a while? Do you know what William used to do? William used to fly Coast Guard helicopters. Put on a little helmet, put on goggles. Nobody knew who he was, flew a helicopter. There's nothing stopping Harry getting a job flying helicopters in LA. He could fly a traffic report helicopter every morning.
Now go away. Stop so silly.
I'm so silly. You're getting a job like the rest of us.
Because the paparazzi are never going to leave them alone.
Because they keep going up to the paparazzi and saying, hello, leave me alone.
The Oprah interview ignites headlines worldwide, followed by a Spotify deal. Then Netflix signs an enormous check. Opportunity after opportunity clicks into place with almost mechanical precision. And Jimmy Carr isn't alone in voicing this suspicion. The narrative that Meghan leaves fractured relationships in her wake has been whispered for years, starting, critics say, with her own family before it ever touched the House of Windsor.
Nail every Spotify deal, WME representation she wants. It's never going to fulfill the hole that's inside of her because there's something wrong with this woman. She dumped her family. Her dad is dying. She won't speak to him. She's ruined another family. It happens to be the royal one. And now they're going to have to sit with the consequences of their own behavior, which is miserable.
World of entertainment, Netflix has decided it will not renew its deal with Prince Harry and Meghan. It looks like the $100 million multi-year contract with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is set to expire in September. And that's where Netflix will leave it. With more on that.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's media empire is expanding into podcasting. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have joined forces with Spotify to produce and host podcasts, their first series coming next year. The couple have already signed a deal to produce films and TV shows for Netflix after stepping down from royal duties.
Eventually, the departure stopped resembling a desperate escape. It began to look strategic, like a rollout plan. The royal chapter wasn't abandoned. It was repackaged, polished, and sold, turning private turmoil into a multi-million-dollar franchise.
I was curious what they did with Harry and Meghan's wax figures,
so I found the museum employee who's temporarily storing them. Oliver, you have generously offered to keep the wax figures of Harry and Meghan safe.
Yeah, that's correct. And if I may, I would just like to say that I'm definitely not using the wax figures for sex stuff. They are in a loving home, and I treat them better than the museum ever did. They didn't appreciate Meghan's soft hands or Harry's supple lips.
Jimmy didn't shy away from the financial angle either, accusing them of treating taxpayer-funded privileges as casual perks, devoid of visible remorse. The internet erupted, and he kept going, painting Harry as a man who has never truly steered his own life. First, the palace dictated his path, then his grandmother's authority defined his world, and once that structure dissolved, Meghan stepped into the driver's seat. The pattern, according to critics, is dependency dressed up as rebellion. Strip away the royal safety net, and someone else assumes command. The backlash, supporters argue, isn't rooted in blind hate. It's fueled by perceived hypocrisy. Their struggles become content. Interviews, documentaries, memoirs, streaming deals worth millions, while ordinary people navigate similar storms without security convoys or private jets. Yet Harry speaks as though he discovered suffering itself. Meghan, meanwhile, is portrayed as perpetually blameless. Every misstep reframed into another storyline for Netflix. And when Prince William's name enters the conversation, the tone shifts. No punchlines, no mockery, just measured respect. He's seen as steady, grounded, committed to duty. Imagine, critics say, if Harry and Meghan truly embraced silence, actually living the privacy they claim to crave. They crossed oceans for it, built a platform around it, monetized it, and now bristle when audiences watch. This isn't evading the spotlight, it's reserving it. So drop a comment if you think the curtain has been pulled back. Hit like if you believe Jimmy Carr voiced what many are already thinking. And subscribe, because if history has taught us anything, this royal drama is far from its final act. Like this video if you think the truth is finally coming out, and subscribe to Victoria Reports for more sharp, no-filter celebrity breakdowns.